of any sense at all, and our speakers, who I'll introduce shortly, will outline further on that matter. Australian defence industry contracts are currently around $200 billion, up from $600 million in 2003-4. So you can see the extent of armaments growth that's going on. The government has decided also that it wants to spend military spending to grow to 2% of GDP, reaching $58.7 billion by around 2025. These are matters that require serious public consideration and debate, and we're trying to engender that debate by holding conferences such as these. We think it is time, more than time, for Australia to reconsider this whole posture of growing its military capability as a false and inept idea in terms of really developing peaceful, useful relationships in the region, in our dynamic and changing region. Obviously, spending money on more socially useful programs is what's required. So basically, we're here to call for a 10% cut in Australia's military spending, which is basically also being the same thing that's going on in Berlin, Barcelona, Geneva, Helsinki, Rome, Tokyo at the moment. Similar press conferences are being held making that same statement. So basically we're endeavouring to engender some media interest in this matter. Now, we're very privileged to have three speakers, all of whom I can introduce to you. We'll start with Sister Monica Kavanagh on my left, who's the congregational leader for the Sisters of St Joseph's. Sister Kavanagh has been a teacher and a faith educator and facilitator. She was the Josephite co-coordinator for the World Youth Day in Sydney and a key facilitator in the preparations for Mary MacKillop's canonisation. With a special interest in St Mary MacKillop, Sister Monica wrote the book Mary MacKillop, A Window of Hope. On my right is Emeritus Professor Stuart Rees, AM, an Australian academic, human rights activist, an author who founded the Sydney Peace Foundation, is the Emeritus Professor at the Centre for Peace and Conflict Studies at the University of Sydney in Australia, has written numerous books on social justice issues and in several anthologies of poetry. He's been described as one of the most humane voices of our generation, a writer always committed to passionately illuminating questions about social justice and to crafting answers to the biggest questions of all, what it means to be human. And finally, on my far right is Kelly Tranter, a lawyer and activist who's delivered addresses, shared workshops, participated in public debates on issues like climate change, human rights and gender equality at local, national and international conferences, including speeches opposing unjustified wars and economic exploitation. Kelly regularly contributes political and social commentary to public affairs, websites like ABC's The Drum, Independent Australia, National Times and Online Opinion, and has written for New Matilda and the Australian Institute. Okay, what we are about is just have a hearing from each of our speakers in the order I introduced them in for 3 minutes each, and then throwing it open to some questions. So basically,